Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to the Dog Show Drive with Wayne and Will. I'm Wayne Kavanagh.
You are, and I'm Will Alexander here on the deep freeze of the north. Well, I think you're more north than I am. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think we're certainly cold, I can tell you that. That's part of our discussion this week, weather and dog shows, judges getting to and from shows, judges' contracts. Uh, Big shows coming up. We have Pool Cluster and the Indy Winter Classic, and we have discussion about our favorite topic, the judging approval process. They're moving the goalposts, Will. All that and more right
Oh, I thought it
here
was hockey. All right.
on the Dog Show Hockey Drive. Well, good morning there, young William. It's been a while.
It
It's been
has
a
been a
minute.
while.
Isn't
It's
that what the
been
kids say?
a few weeks and probably 5 or 6 hockey games.
Yeah.
It's
A
like I
day.
was up late last night because the Leafs were in Calgary last night, which is a
Oh,
different time zone for us.
yeah. Yeah. We have the 7 o'clock games here and the 10 o'clock games. The 7 o'clock games I can get through because I can get to bed by 9:30 or so, which is, late for us old guys. But if it's a real good one and you stay up for that 10, you regret it the next morning. Because
Well, I
all of a
stayed up
sudden
last night, and the
yeah.
last few games have been I've been gone to bed in the middle of the third because they've blown it and just I said, I can't watch anymore. And I go to bed. But
And it
last
was
night
one
they
game.
hung on and
There was a Leafs game last week. They were ahead like 5-2 and they lost or something, right? I went
four
to
in a row
bed.
they did that. They had a lead going into the third and lost.
Uh,
Yeah.
frustrating. But the Panthers are doing well again.
Oh, Panthers are
Yeah.
great. You know,
And
two top
Boston's
two
doing well again.
top two teams in the league right now are Vancouver and
Yeah.
Winnipeg,
Yeah,
first and
yes, they
second.
are. I know Canadian teams.
Yeah.
It's amazing. You knew it would happen one of these days. You knew it would. Maybe they'll even
It's
make the
so funny
playoffs.
what how little things change though, because
Yeah.
um Rick Tocchet got that Vancouver team. It's the
Ah, I
same
love
same
talking.
team.
Yeah.
Changed the coach,
Hmm.
and look at them.
But
Same team.
those people, those guys love playing for Tocchet. When he
Yeah,
was when he was in Tampa, they loved him, and he's the one that got Steve there, and really got him going. And he and Stammer were a great combo. Steve Downey, that is.
yeah,
German Shepherd showed it and finished it.
yep.
Yes, he
Champion
did.
dog. I
Yeah,
watched it.
we hooked him up here, and
Yeah,
off he went.
yeah.
Um, by the
Well, I
way,
hope Craig Berube likes it in Toronto.
he's gonna like it in Toronto. And by the way, for the first time in like a million years, Michigan football, we got the Lions
I
that
know.
have been in the playoffs for 31 years
That's crazy.
are in the playoffs. And University of Michigan, who hasn't won a national championship in, I don't know, a long time, won the college football national championship. Unbelievable. So two of our teams made it all the way, and we're hoping the Lions can do it too, although it's a
And
long
you
shot.
you couldn't write it any better. Like Stafford comes back for the playoff game,
I
their old
know.
team,
It was the
with
best.
Goff,
And
the
they
Stafford play. It was a great game. It was a
Oh, it's a
great game.
great game. And the fans still love Stafford. They just love him.
Oh,
They
they
have
were booing
welcomes.
there for a while, and they're saying
Yeah,
they're talking
yeah,
about the other guy. Is it Goff? The other guy, his name?
Goff, yeah, yeah. But they when he left, the Lions fans went to the Chargers game for the Super Bowl to root for him. It's
Well,
pretty
he
cool.
gave his heart and soul. He just didn't have a team.
Yeah. But he has a coach now too, which certainly helps.
Yeah.
This is so relevant to dog shows, ladies and gentlemen. I just can't
Well,
even
I'm sure
tell
it's going to
you.
circle around
Did you
somehow. Like
did
we're
you
going to
always
get
mention Steve Downey's German Shepherd
you're right.
on the
Yeah,
show?
exactly.
There you go.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Craig Ruby's got a dog too.
I'll get him a dog if he wants
And
to
and
come
by the
here.
way, right now, the Leafs have a lot of dogs on the ice. And so
That was a low blow, Kavanaugh.
low blue.
Look
That's
at
right
Toronto
there.
Blue.
Yeah, you go. Yeah. I got Toronto blue on today too. Anyway, dog show stuff. First of all, you can't even talk about dog shows without talking about the weather. This is out of control, and
Oh
it's
my
everywhere.
gosh.
It's everywhere.
It is.
Doesn't matter if you're in Michigan or Washington State. The Northwest has really gotten hit, and the South, of course. The pictures from Brooksville are I just feel so sorry for those people.
Someone called me from Brooksville, and they were telling me how cold it was. I said I was there one year, and that was back when we had to move every day.
Yeah.
not Brooksville, this Florida circuit, and it was so cold and icy, I had to pick my X pins up over my head and drop them to get the ice off them in the morning.
Man,
So, don't complain to
that's
me, you bunch of youngsters.
that's right. You bunch of
We had to do that every day. You guys pick one spot. Luxury.
and and by the way, -2 here in Michigan the last 10 days or more, it seems. So I don't wanna hear about your, "It's 30, I had to put a coat on." Yeah. But still, it's no fun, I understand.
But I'll tell
Um,
you, mornings in Brooksville, when it's cold, it's cold.
yeah, it is.
I
It
remember
is.
I took the beagle dog there, AJ, for one of his last circus down there, and he was doing really well unless beagles were 8 AM.
Yeah.
And then he froze his butt off, and I'd lose the breeze. I
Roach up
couldn't
like
keep
a
him
little
stand still.
ball. Yeah. Those top guys look really good. Whippets too, they really like the cold weather. They
Uh-huh.
were God, I
Then
would
they're like, "Oh, well, you're from Canada. You should be fine." But we don't show outside when it's
no, we
cold.
exactly. We're not as dumb. We do the things where there's warm air. But we've got some it's just been terrible for judges. And not that we're asking for your pity for judges, but I don't think people understand that the easiest thing we do is go in that ring and hand out
Oh,
ribbons.
exactly.
It's the
You're
getting
relieved when
there.
you get there to do that because
Yeah.
you worry the rest of the time you worry, you know? So
Yep.
getting there,
And getting home.
yeah.
Um,
I tend to drive whenever I can. If it like I know everybody was shook to hell when I drove to what where were we together?
Westchester.
Westchester. And that was like 10 hours. I started off in Michigan.
Yeah.
But I trust myself, you know.
Yeah. It's true, and if you can get there, did you read Richard Powell's b I love Richard Powell, by the way,
Oh,
and he's a
he's so
great dog judge too. He's a
yeah,
really good dog judge.
good
He's
guy.
really just becoming a superstar, but he was out to I think Washington, I forget where he was. Wherever he was, it was one of those things, stranded, delayed, next day, hotel, the whole thing. He runs into a couple guys who say, "The heck with this. It's only 8 hours where we're going. Let's rent a car together."
Oh no, planes, trains, and automobiles.
I know, and these are guys that never met, right? And they rent a car. They
It
go to
wasn't
the car.
John Candy, was it?
It wasn't Chevy Chase, I think it was. But they had, so they would only rent them a two-wheel drive, and that it's the roads are horrible. So they stopped somewhere along the way mid-trip and got a four-wheel drive and made it. But Richard Powell tells the story so well and about
Oh,
but
jeez.
that's what they had to do to get home. Now, poor Jason, I think he's still somewhere near not near home. Jason's been stuck for the whole week.
Is this
Um,
Jason Hoke?
yeah, yeah. And I mean, going to airports you never heard of and staying over, it's just been disaster.
That's happening to Shawn Nichols right now too. It's crazy.
Yeah, the Irish setter judge. Sorry, Sean. I'm not even going to let you go on that one. Sean did a great job, but he substituted for me. And, that's just, he really did do a great job. But
You did
uh,
your best
I
to
did my best from the
Vulcan
hospital.
mind meld, and it just didn't work. He's not getting it.
No, not that one. Give me this IV pull. I'm out of here.
I remember this story one time. Ed Biven told this story. He was judging PCA and Best in Show, and a standard dog, came in. I shouldn't even tell this story now, but anyway, um, a dog that Mrs. Clark wasn't that fond of, and she said, and he liked the dog a lot. And he said when he pointed, he felt a pain right there, and he figured she was staring at him.
Excuse me. You might hear a bit of that. I've got my machine somewhere. Anyway, uh, yeah, all that and more. And by the way, the the big fear now is you plan your trip to the show the day before. The club's not going to pay for you to go two days before.
Right.
But either that or have to fly somebody in because it happens all the time now. You just can't get there. There are more substitutions and cancellations now than there's ever been. It happens a lot. And, you just can't be it's not just the weather. It's flight cancellations, it's overbooked flights, it's the crew doesn't show up, it's somebody's on strike. And this de-icing is happening. That's gonna cost you because that takes you getting sometimes they'll say, "We're 47th in line for de-icing." Hmm. Well, I guess we're gonna be late, and I'm
We'll
gonna
do
miss
our
my
very
connection.
best to keep you on time.
Yeah. And then you get into the hotel at 3 in the morning, and you're expected to jump up at 5 and go be a great judge. So,
I don't know if I
yeah,
can tell this story.
sure you can.
I got in
It's our
really I
damn
was like it was one of
podcast.
those shows I got in really I drove there and I got in really late, and I know I drove to the airport, flew there, but the plane got delayed, so I got to the airport, like, really late, really early, and I had to use the bathroom. Okay. I was dancing around, and I hate to say it, I should do there was these big bushes there.
Yeah.
And I knew if I had to go and check in, I was dancing around so bad I wasn't gonna make it, that I started there. I'm in the bushes, and I started thinking, "Oh, this is a pretty fancy hotel. They probably have cameras." I don't do
Probably
that
do.
anymore. I'm broken of that now. I
That
won't
you
do
were
that ever
16
again.
then, right? You were 16.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
16 or
And now
17.
your house broken and
It was a
everything. It's all
Howard
good.
Johnson's or something. There's no
Yeah.
camera.
Howard Johnson's, a Hojo. They still have those?
Oh, every once in a while you see one. But when I
Jeez.
was a kid, you saw them all the time.
When my father got paid, we'd go to Howard Johnson's on whatever family cheap night it was. That was a
Oh, the
big
breakfast at Howard Johnson when I
yeah.
was a kid. Oh, yeah.
Mhm. That was a big night out. That was a big night out. Now, if I don't have a 5 star, I don't go. Spoiled, rotten, jeez. Anyway, not
Anyway.
5, not 5. Um, the other end of the judging thing, Will, we were talking about earlier, is contracts.
Oh, yeah. You gotta
It
read those thoroughly.
wow, do you ever? You get well, you just had one, Will.
Yeah, I had one, and, I was asked to judge a show, and they sent me the contract, and I had looked at the date, and I went and looked at my calendar. I said, "Yeah, I can do that." So I signed it and sent it back. And when the pre-list came out, it was the wrong date. I had already accepted that date in a other dog show, and so I had to explain to them what they did, and they kind of I don't think they were upset, but I didn't hear much from them. But I got a phone call asking if I had taken 2 assignments in one date, and no,
Yeah.
I sent the director, the CKC there, the contract picture and showed them the date, and they were fine with it, but, that was so I read it properly. They should have reread it before they sent it to
Mhm.
me. But
I've had this happen more than once where you don't even get one, and, or you get a Facebook Messenger, right?
yeah.
"Can you judge our shows on this date?" "Yeah, send me a contract because my answering this email does not constitute my commitment to do your show." And you just there are some clubs I just got a sweepstakes assignment that I need and want to do, and the contract is so good. I wrote her back and said, I know this is a little thing, but this is exactly what all breed shows and every contract should look like. It's really good. Black and tan coonhounds. Congratulations, done right. But I've had others where I had an assignment. This is, the sweepstakes ones are tricky because they're great. They care, but they haven't done this often. It's often the breed club. And one of those I was driving up north to Traverse City to our place up there and I get a phone call, and, it was a friend of mine who said, "We're sitting here looking at the judging program, and you're judging tomorrow." I said, "Not that I know of." So, I looked back, and I got a Facebook Messenger, quite a while ago that said, "Are you interested in judging our sweepstakes?" And it's in conjunction with an all breed, and I could have tried to get on that panel or whatever you do, and I said, "Yeah, let me know the dates." I didn't know the dates. Let me know the location. I didn't know the location, and they never got back to me, but they did put me
Yeah.
by the way, there was 3 entered, but still, it was an inconvenience for
Where's
them as
Wayne
well,
Kavanaugh? He
right?
drove all this way to show my dog.
And by the way, I want to apologize to Well Springer Club, at Spaniel Club. I was supposed to do their sweepstakes, and, I couldn't do it. I still was, getting over this thing and, just didn't have the clearance yet from the docs to get down and do it. So I apologize. I really missed that one. It's one that I love. I love Welsh Springers. I just love that breed. Always have. And Spaniel Club, I would have loved to have been there as well. So sorry I missed that one, but I'm back.
Looked exciting. I saw some of the highlights. Looked
Yeah,
exciting.
good stuff. So the next show that you and I go to, I don't have a contract. Well, I just want to be there.
Yeah, I have a contract, and it's a
but
good
I've
contract.
judged I've judged it. I've judged it the last
It's
few
a very
years.
cool contract.
It's a very cool contract. The Cool Cluster's coming up, ladies and gentlemen. The biggest show in Illinois, one of the biggest shows of the winter around here, with over 1,000 dogs every day. Great panel, and it should really be fun. And young William is doing the sporting dogs there, a
Young
bunch of
William.
them.
I love it when you call me
And
Young William.
yeah, and this is our buddy Ken and Virginia Murray's shows, and they do a great job. And it's a great facility. Everything about it's great. So it's you got space, you got room to breathe, you got big rings, you got a great A panel is everything. If you get a good panel, the people will come. If you get a panel that's not that great, they'll go elsewhere. They're not going to spend their money. We talked about this. It
Mhm.
costs a fortune to go to a dog show for the owner handler, and they're not going to waste their money. Maybe $1,000 a weekend to not get the opinion that they respect. So makes a big difference. And then at the end of January, the I think it's January 31st to February 3rd, you've got the Indiana Winter Classic, the Indy Winter Classic. And that's going to be a big one. They've got almost 9,000 entries over the 3 or 4 days. Maybe it's 5 days. Whatever it is, they've got a giant entry already. And that's going to be a real big show for this part of the country.
That's
And
Doug and Jamie's show?
that's Doug and Jamie show them when they know how to do it. And
I'm
when you
sure they do.
see,
Yeah.
oh, I mean, just the little sporting thing they put on in conjunction with Fort Wayne, the little touches, the ring tablecloths, the trophies, the way it's set up, just the little touches make it special. And people love that. If they can feel like they're at something significant and special, they will come. And again, you have to have a good panel. So yeah, looking forward to those two. And I don't have any idea where I am next.
Yeah, I
I
know.
guess it's time to look. Oh,
I'm
I'm doing the Pointer National in March.
oh, yes,
I
you
think
are.
it's March, and then the Irish Setter National in May, and that's right with the garden. So you're going to leave the Irish Setter National. I think we have a day or two to get there to the garden.
I'm not sure. I'm not gonna be attending the Irish International this year. The judges, you know.
The judges. It's me and Michael Faulkner.
I know,
Yeah, you know
it's
what I
great
got to do.
judges.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna
You're
go
gonna go
right to
find
New York.
you're going to find Shawn Nichols somewhere, aren't you, with your Irish Setter? By the way, I want to make it real clear. Sean's one of the best judges. Well, he's easily one of the best Canadian judges, but he's really a good guy. I'm not going to be able to
Just
dig
keep
myself
digging.
out of this, am I?
Keep
Will?
digging.
No, he's a really good guy and a really good
He's a
judge, and I
good judge,
respect
yes, Sean.
everything he does. And don't mean to cast aspersions. It's just been a running joke since Orlando. So good on you, Sean, and all you do, and especially in a breed that we both love, Will, like English setters.
No, I watched
Um,
him do poodles. I watched him do Afghans. I watched him do Afghans, and he sorted through them.
yeah,
He did a amazing job.
and you can tell what he's doing. He knows breed type and he sticks with it and gets it done.
Yeah.
And yeah, hats off
He
to you,
doesn't back
Sean.
himself into a corner. He does what he wants, and
Yeah.
it's good.
And well, sometimes in Cane of Corsos, he backs himself into a corner.
Well,
A lot of people do.
that's his own fault.
Only kidding. We love your breed, Cane Corso's people. We love their wonderful temperament. It's just a little ribbon right here on the dog show drive, like the maple leaves. Consider yourself a maple leaf, if
My poor
because
Maple.
we love them, but we have to tease them. Part of our world. Um, yeah, the judges' flights, the judges' contracts, that's all part of what we do, and it's a big part of it. And we love to do the little specialties in the sweepstakes when we can. But every one of those assignments has to have an accurate contract. And
Right.
we also need to know where we're going. I can't tell you how many times you get to the airport thinking, I wonder who's going to pick me up
Yeah,
or how I'm going to get
exactly.
there. Um, and then you get the shows where you don't even know the hotel. I do every time I get a contract now, and they say they made the hotel reservations. Before I leave, I call the hotel myself and make sure they have a reservation for me. It's not the clubs often get it right, they usually do, but sometimes the hotels don't.
Right.
Or because it's a block and it's a 5-day show and you're in for 2, you wanna make sure that you're in for the right days. And sometimes that gets confused from the conversation between the club and the hotel. So I always call and see ahead of time, do I have Friday night and Saturday night or whatever it is? Ken had that situation not too long ago where they booked him for a day after. So he's sitting in the hotel lobby for hours hoping he can get in the night before because he was already there,
Wow, that would
um,
be yeah,
as he
that
should
would
have
be
been,
fun.
but there's no room. So, yeah,
Well, I
these
had
are all fun
uh,
things.
like, I had, I was talking to I sent Virginia a message actually to, because I'm staying over the Sunday night because I wanna drive the next day,
Yeah.
and they already had it all. They were so s I
Oh,
she forwarded me on to Lee, and Lee was great, and
yeah.
then, but they already had it done. They were way ahead of me, so
Yeah. No, it's there's they've been to a few dog shows. They know what they're doing. It makes a big difference. And they're not doing this to try to, you don't see, I mean, Virginia shows her Portuguese water dog once in a blue moon. But it's not like they pick judges to judge there so she can
right.
win with her class dog, Porty, and it just keeps it straight up, and I think
No.
people really appreciate that.
They're dog people, they want dog events, I
Yeah.
think they take pride in having dog events, so
Yeah, same with Doug and Jamie. I mean, they really go all out, and there's plenty of clubs like it that have serious, solid dog people. I mean, look at Chris Berg and Dougie and Kelly putting on those shows in Bear, Delaware, where we both judged, and we love going to those shows
yeah.
because they do it right. You know ahead of time. You know what's going on. The communication is great along the way. Um, yeah, it's a big deal when that hospitality chairman reaches out 2, 3 times to make sure. And I always want peeled grapes in the ring, Will.
Do you?
I like peeled grapes, and I prefer if they peel them for me in the ring because I like them freshly peeled. So
Then
I
they
always
just
put that
change
in.
colors if they're
They
there for
do,
a
and I
couple
don't like
hours
that.
and
And if it's a banana, I don't want to see the seeds. I just want clear banana. But people do ask for weird stuff. My request is always the same: water. That's all I care about.
yeah, I
And now
remember.
water and you have to ask for this or bring them and wipes. Because if you do certain breeds where the exhibitors don't think that that breed should be bathed because of some texture thing, and you stink to high heaven, you need hand wipes because
Yeah.
you got to touch the clean guy's dog next, and you don't want. Gosh, people, you can give them a bath or brush them or do something.
Well, as
Ugh,
long as you dry them afterwards completely, there's never an issue.
no,
But
there's
you've
not.
gotta have some conviction to it. You gotta do it right.
It would be nice, and there's certain breeds that are always guilty parties,
Yeah.
and we're not going to mention them because we don't want to embarrass the people. But the initials of those breeds are no. I'm not but really, that's just not what we want to do after flying 17 hours and getting delayed. You want to touch your dirty dog. Yeah, it's the least you can do. It's just respect for the sport. Never mind us. Respect for the sport.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it takes no time,
yeah,
really.
yeah. Well, another topic, Will.
Yes.
I hate to do this.
Uh-oh.
They've moved the goalpost again. We got a letter. All the judges got a letter. I don't know if you got one.
No, I didn't get a letter.
No, you wouldn't because it wouldn't apply to you because you're not an AKC judge. You,
I haven't checked smoke signals today though, but I
smoke signals could happen. But there, for a long time now, you could do this is to get your CEUs to apply to a judge, to apply to judge another breed. You have to get these credits, this continuing education units or whatever it is. There's a matrix you got to go down and find what counts. Well, what used to count is a virtual tutoring session. And that would be you set up FaceTime or Zoom, usually Zoom, with a breeder who's also a bona fide recognized expert in the breed, and they bring dogs and they put them on grooming tables and you're watching them and they describe the whole dog. You're right there on the Zoom call. You're not touching them, but you're going over every bone and every hair on these dogs. And it's a really educational experience. It's really good educationally. It's a good
it's
education
gooder
experience.
this time than it was last
Yeah, it's much good or better. But, it's a great experience, and I've had some really excellent opportunities to do such. Well, we've you don't just put all your stuff together on Friday and take all your studying on Friday. It's not like high school and then apply on Saturday. You need a year, 6 months to compile those points and to compile, more important, that education. So for a long time, everybody applying for new breeds has been doing virtual mentoring. And as is described in the guidelines and has been for a long time. So you do it in good faith. You go out and you set up these virtual mentoring points and you get those points and you're right there to your 10 or 12, whatever points you need for that breed. You're ready to send it in. Then you get a letter saying none of that counts anymore. So you're
What's
real.
the
I was ready to,
reason?
pardon me?
Do they give you a reason?
Yeah, no reason. No
Okay.
reason. You can do one virtual tutoring session in low entry breeds only, but they have to be, you don't know. So here's the deal. You can do one virtual tutoring session for low entry breeds, but not all low entry breeds. Because remember, more than half of the AKC recognized breeds now are low entry breeds. If you want to know the point scale, I can tell you half of the point scales in one sentence. It's how many dogs are entered minus one is what you get. If
Wow.
4 dogs are entered, you get a 3 point major. You won't have to beat three because you're the fourth dog, right? That's true in 50%, 57% last I looked of our breeds. So
You're such a
they're
dog
all
show
low
nerd.
entry. They're all low entry. So they can't say that it only counts in low entry breeds because that would be no problem. Half the breeds are there. So they say low entry breeds, but only the ones that staff has deemed to be really low entry breeds, but they won't tell you which ones.
That's
So you've got to call the office and
Is this
say,
a really low entry breed?
exactly.
Well, today
You've
it's a
got to
really low entry. Yesterday it's not though. I got pulled a
you've got
point
to get
seven
perm
yesterday.
you've got to get permission to ask that, and it has to be a parent include breed mentor, which, by the way, don't start
In
me
a
on that.
really low entry breed.
And a really low entry breed, or a breed expert in that breed, really low entry breed. Then you tell them ahead of time. Then you do the session, and then you might get your point.
Well, we'll decide.
So
You do
for
all
those of
that,
us,
send it to us, and we'll decide if it's
yeah.
good enough
So
for
for
a
those of us who
really,
have
really
accumulated
low entry breed.
really, really, so those of us who have accumulated 50, 60 points by doing really good virtual tutoring sessions, none of those points count anymore. We have to start over. I don't mind if you want to make this rule and say it's effective. And by the way, it was 7 days after that it was effective. The email went out and 7 days later it's
Yeah, there
effective.
should be a better date than that.
Yeah. So we've been compiling these in really good faith according to their guidelines, and now they don't count. I
Yeah,
wouldn't mind if they said, okay, if you can prove, and you can because you have signed forms and dated forms, and they can always check with the tutor because the email of the tutor and the phone number of the tutor is on there. If you've done this in good faith up to this date, they
yeah.
count.
They should
Going
they
forward,
should have that.
right. Going forward, they don't count. If that's the way they want to do it, fine. Going forward. But how do you do retroactive? So if the speed limit's 35 miles an hour and you've been doing 35 miles an hour for years and they lower the speed limit to 30, do they go back and give you all tickets? I don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't understand. And by the way, if you judge a sweepstakes and there are 4 entered, you get 1 point. If I can talk, and I did, to Linda Souza, one of the most incredible teachers and great Irish Wolfhound people of our time, who has since passed. If I can talk to her about Irish Wolfhounds 4 hours over many times, and that doesn't count, but 1 point for doing a 3 dog sweepstakes or for judging one dog 3 times in the groups and all these there's many other ways to get 1 point. I don't think any of them are as good. I've bought houses and businesses on Zoom calls. The board, the AKC board, met for a long time over Zoom call and decided all these rules. It's not like it's a bad, phony thing. It's
No.
right there. This is 2000, I think, 24. Business is conducted over Zoom all the time.
Well, this is us, man. We're Zoom right now. Look how
We are
popular
Zoom
this is.
people. We're Zoomies. Or
Yeah.
is that are we, Swifties or Zoomies? You
We're
might
not
be a Swiftie.
Swifties. I'm not a
No,
Swiftie.
no. I'm like a Beatley, I guess,
Exactly.
a
I
Rolling
couldn't tell
Stony.
you a Swiftie song. Not awful.
Anyway, I also wanna
I
say
know she's dating Travis Kelce. I know that.
that's true. I do that. No one knew who either of them were in my world until we. Anyway, th- I don't want to say that this is a bad concept. No one has put together the right judging approval system anywhere, so it's hard. And the board wants to adjust to make it better, but a little common sense on when it's initiated would have been nice.
Well, and even I don't understand. Obviously, something happened why they changed their
Yeah,
mind. But how can like that is continuing education. Like I learn stuff out through our Zoom calls all the time,
yeah.
and I don't know how they can dismiss that so easily. Yeah,
Well,
it's
it's
education.
I'll still do it because
Yeah,
it's still educational. I just don't get a credit for it. I want to learn, by the way, not just accumulate CEUs. So it won't be. It's just frustrating, and
yeah.
I understand you want to get it right. The paper clip. Believe it or not, I'm writing an article about this, and I mentioned that there's a great book about the paper clip that I highly recommend, calling "The Perfection of the Paperclip." No one's ever been able to improve on the paperclip, will, because it's the perfect invention. The lead pencil. No one's changed those in a very well, they haven't changed them because
No,
it's a perfect invention. You can't have a perfect judging system, so you have to make amendments. You have to make changes to adjust to the new world of dog shows, to the fact that our entries per show are crap. Um, and these are things that need to be taken into consideration. The geographical representation has got to be taken into consideration. By the way, the only Boinkins are in South Carolina. There might be some scattered elsewhere, but if you're looking for a major or a kennel that has more than 3 or 4 Boinkins, you've got to go to South Carolina. So now, instead of me being able to call the maven of that breed in South Carolina and doing a mentoring session, I've got to drive to South Carolina to do the same exact thing.
yeah,
It's 2 days and 3 grand or whatever. So they wonder why they don't have enough multi-group judges to fill these small show panels where they need just multi-group judges. You know what the solution is, Will?
Canadians.
You're right. You're right. Our panels have tons of Canadians on them every weekend
Yeah.
because they can do all the breeds. They didn't have to go to South Carolina to get one Boykin point. It's ridiculous, but that's the way it is. We have the best educated judges in the world, in my opinion. The AKC offers more educational opportunities than anybody. Um, they have a good system they keep messing with, but it's not the perfect system.
Yeah, well, I think you're right when it just comes down to common sense.
Yeah. Common sense is the problem with common sense is it's not fair,
Yeah, but
right? So,
life's not fair.
yeah, the
I want to play.
paperclip.
I want to play hockey with Wayne Gretzky.
Hmm.
I'm
Yeah,
not allowed to. He's too good for me.
yeah. So what happens is that the reason a judging approval system can't be perfect, it's not a paperclip, it's not a lead pencil, but more important, the problem is they have to be fair to everyone in this litigious society in which we live. And
Yeah,
that's the problem.
it is
Fairness is
definitely
the
the problem.
problem. You can't be, you, I don't know. What test are you going to give Fisher compared to a test you're going to give someone who owned one Cairn Terrier 20 years ago or whatever? I don't know.
A funny overview because you think about it. Let's use Bobby as an example. So you're telling me that Bobby and this one breed person are now judges, and you think that the exhibitor enters under both these judges. and they think they're gonna get the same because they were fair, they're not gonna get the same. Like, if I showed to Bobby and Bobby told, "Oh, you need to do this and this in your breeding program," I'm gonna listen to Bobby.
Mhm.
Whereas there's
Right.
nothing to fall back on. And I remember Fred Fraser years ago telling me it all comes down to experience. It does. It all comes
Yeah.
down to experience.
Yeah.
It's
You have to see enough good dogs
yeah.
and next to each other, you
And
know?
even next to each other in your head. Like
Yes.
Bobby has seen decades of beautiful dogs that he knows are in his bank in his head that he could call on if he had to.
Mhm.
And it's just, life's not fair. It's the way it is. Like if if it was run that way in the real world, I'd be on the ice with Wayne Gretzky right now,
Mhm.
even though he's retired. But I mean, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But problem is I couldn't keep up. I couldn't keep up.
True. It's true. And what'll happen, Will, if Bobby does them on Saturday and the judge without the experience does them on Sunday, the only thing we can hope for is that the new judge is a bandwagon judge and does what Bobby does.
Right.
But ask that judge to explain what he or she did and why. Different story. So do we really care about evaluating breeding stock anymore? Or we care about who gets to win? Um, I don't know. By the way, we are not, Will or I are not saying we're special and should get some special consideration at all. At all. That's off the table. We got to do what everybody else does. We get that. But there's got to be something that we can do. And I've always been a proponent of each zone gets a group of judges that have been around for 50 years and knows everybody and goes to shows a lot. And when that application comes in and it's denied, that they can appeal to this group and say, "Come on, man, you guys know me. I've been doing this all my life." And, "Oh yeah, we've seen your dogs you bred and showed and owned, and yeah, you should not be denied for this." And send that back to the board for second consideration. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know. I've always liked the system where you let everybody judge everything. Let the cream rise to the top.
And it did. Back in the
Yes.
day, it did. You saw.
Yes.
You know.
Mhm. It did. And the only I can tell you the only system that worked really well, was the Al Dick Bill Stifle system, where the president of the AKC was such a good dog person that they would call you and say, "Terry Stacy, you're getting the whatever group." Didn't even ask for it. "You're ready to do work. You're not ready to do this. You're ready to do that." That's unfair, and I'm sure it would react in lawsuits, but guess what? You had really good judges.
Yeah. Mhm.
They were handpicked. On the other hand, we had less than half this number of shows, so they didn't have to pick as many.
Didn't have to fill so many rosters.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like the NHL. So call comes back to
Expansion
sports. Watered down. It's watered down,
expansion
Wayne.
league.
Too
Yep,
many teams.
expansion league. We need the original 6, and that's it, Will.
That's
That's
right.
it. The
Watered
original
down.
6.
Back when hockey was hockey, Wayne.
Yeah, and Raleigh, North Carolina. But by the way, there's my long shot pick for this most of the Super Bowl for the Stanley Cup. Hurricanes, baby.
Hurricanes? Yeah, I think the
Got
Oilers are juggernaut right now. They're just unbelievable. So
Yeah, they are.
my friend Zach is leading the team in scoring.
I know. Is he really?
Yes,
Wow.
he's
Dog guy, by
unbelievable.
the way. Dog guy.
Yeah, he
Just so
has
you
a
know.
Siberian Husky named Lady,
See?
and I
Yeah,
showed his dad's dogs.
yeah. Name Lady.
That's his. Yeah,
Wow.
he moved when he moved to Edmonton. He put out a video of how happy Lady was to be in Edmonton, and she just howling, just open spaces and
Oh,
snow and stuff. So she was
yeah.
happy.
That's perfect. I got a new dog, Will.
I know.
Got a new little dog. It's
Bradley.
not
No, no, not Bradley. Clifford. No, it's not Clifford.
Bradley. No, it's Baxter.
Baxter.
Um,
That Baxter from Frasier.
it's Baxter from High. We have a Hazel that runs the house, an old beagle. She's terrific. Smartest damn beagle you ever met in your
Oh, that
life.
was Eddie from Frasier. Never mind. Sorry, I was wrong.
And there was a show in 1906 called Hazel, and she was the housekeeper for Mr. Baxter.
Ah,
So Cheryl and the kids came up with Baxter and, um
Baxter was the dog on Anchor, man. That's where my confusion was.
oh, I see. Anyway, I haven't it's not an Irish Wolfhound. We've had big dogs all our life, English setters, primarily pointers, beagles, coming down a little bit, but this is an English Toy Spaniel, Will, and I've had them before by accident. Some 30 years ago, Haley wanted one. 25 years ago, maybe 30 years ago. Haley wanted one, and I thought, "What am I gonna do with a toy breed?" Ugh. And as soon as she got him, man, I
Yeah,
fell in love. Smart, so clever, so funny.
and they're rugged too.
They
They're
are.
sturdy, those little buggers.
Yep. And, yeah, they bone and body, they're spaniel.
Yeah.
Well, I know I'm gonna get criticized for saying that, but they have those traits. Um, he's just hysterically funny and so smart. Uh, I take him out off lead. He follows me right by my feet. We run around, and I've got with all the snow we have here, I've shoveled a luge trail, we call it. We keep it groomed, and it's a little taller. We have a little more than a foot of snow, and he flies through that thing as quick as it's just we go for our walk. He's right alongside. And then when he gets there, he's like, "Watch
Boom.
this!" And sometimes he'll bounce off the wall and get a little snow on one side of him, and keeps on motoring. Yeah, he's pretty cool. We really
Yeah, the
love him.
videos look cool.
Yeah, he's just a fun dog to have around. But
Bradley, I'm gonna call him Bradley, though.
a lot of people do. Him, Meredith, and I keep calling him Clifford because our last English Toy Spaniel was Clifford, named after Clifford Hallmark, by the way. For those of you who are 90 and remember who Clifford Hallmark was, one of our dog greats of all time, and terrier men. And but the name just keeps coming out whenever I look at this dog. So I'm adjusting. It's only been a few weeks.
I like Bradley, like, yeah. When I look at
Will
his videos now, I think he could easily be a Bradley.
Bradley Cooper is handsome enough, and Tom Bradley, who, in
Tom
my
Bradley.
opinion, is my mentor, my god, my godfather to our son. He's just don't make me cry. Anyway, Tom means a lot to me. He's been in hospital. Is that what you're saying,
No, I
Canada?
didn't know that.
In hospital, not in the hospital. You just say in hospital, right? You don't in Canada. You just say he's in hospital.
No, in the
We say
hospital.
in the hospital.
We say in the hospital too.
Oh, you do? I guess
Yeah.
it's England says in hospital. But either way,
I didn't know Tom was in the hospital.
yeah, 17 days and he's out. He's moving from Albany. He's coming home. He says, please, no phone calls. He's it's going to take him a little while and he needs his rest and he needs his voice. So he just, little the same thing we're all getting in it. Just stuck around a while. Nothing big or life threatening or nothing like that. So stop the rumors if you have any. He's doing well and he'll be back real soon, certainly in time for Westminster. But yeah, wishing you the best, Tom, and we love
Yeah.
you, bud. And we have so many great friends. My other great mentor in this world is Terry Stacy, and he and Jackie, we think of him every day. How lucky was I to have Terry Stacy and Tom Bradley and Ralph Del Deo and so many greats, the Forsyths, of course, my other mom and dad, as mentors coming up in this
Yeah.
sport, and my dad. Uh, all those people that were there. Um, Lucky to have them, and I never take them for granted. Never, ever, ever.
Well, yeah, I call upon them. And some of them are gone now, but I still call upon them for answers.
Yes,
You know,
yes,
I have pictures of
absolutely.
them all over my wall, so I won't forget.
Yep.
And I won't forget. There's no question. It's just,
I need a little bracelet. What would Forsyth do?
yeah.
Because boy, there's plenty of times I want to call him or Janie and say, in this situation, what would you do? And I can guess now what they would do.
Oh
So
yeah,
it's
and you can
kind
do
of
it in
one of
their
those.
voice too, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's got absolutely in their book. Wait, no, what are you talking about? Oh yeah, I can absolutely. What are you talking about, Calvin? Get over here! I'll smack you on the head with a pipe. I can remember. I can hear their answers. Absolutely, all that and more in the people that we have had the opportunity to work with and work for and befriend over the years. Well, young William, I've got a little puppy to walk.
You do. You have obligations now. Every hour on the hour has to go out.
I do. He's housebroken. It took me 30 seconds to housebroke him. They're so smart. Got him at 13 weeks. Um, but you know, the you had a 7-month-old puppy, the last youngest puppy you've had in
Yeah.
recent time, right? This is 13 weeks, Will.
Yeah, it's not the same,
No.
yeah.
I've got wounds. I've got those long needle teeth.
Yeah.
"Oh, he's cute, he's cute. Ah, you son of a" got that. And, lead breaking a 6-pound dog, not as easy as a wolfhound or a pointer, not as easy. So you learn these things. And, but know what else I learned? I can buy the most expensive dog food in the world because he only gets a little bit. Wolfhound, not so much.
Yeah.
Heart guard or whatever you give, and you have to think about this when you're buying a dog, the expense you're putting in. When you buy a wolfhound, that's 6 beagles, 6 beagles.
You
So in the
fed your wolfhound
medicine,
6 beagles?
it's pardon me? Yes, I fed him 6 beagles a day.
Wow.
That's how we clean out the crap around here. No, but when you get heart guard, you get for a beagle, you get a year's supply or whatever you feed like that. It's based on weight. So when you go, well, that's really expensive for a year for a beagle. 6 times for 1 wolfhound. Try 7 wolfhounds. No, don't try 7 wolfhounds. There are people that do, bless their
Oh, for
hearts.
sure, for sure.
Jocelyn, one of our
Yeah,
faves,
oh, you
right?
wouldn't they're
One of
they're
our
just a
favorite
wonderful
people.
breed, you
Great Jocelyn's not only a good person, but a great breeder and a great we just love we love our Jocelyn. Anyway, you're Jocelyn, Canadian. Gagne, by the way.
Gagne, yep. Yeah.
Anyway, there you have it. I've gotta take Bradley Baxter
Bradley out for a walk,
out for a walk, and,
come back
we're
as
gonna
Baxter.
yeah, I know, I know. Mr. B, maybe that'll be
Yeah, just start
hey,
calling him B. Yeah, B.
well, this is true. And Hazel, the TV show from '06 that had Mr. Baxter, she called him Mr. B.
Yeah,
So I can go with that. I just heard him. We can go with Mr. B, or
yeah,
we can go with just B because we had Miss P.
yeah.
Now we're gonna have Mr. B.
I think it's a good idea.
We're moving up in the alphabet, Will.
I think it's a good
The
idea.
sky's the limit.
I got to the point where I forgot what Peyton's real name was. Peyton, because I always just called her P.
I know. It's true. And this one is gonna pee, so I've got to get Mr. B out to pee.
All
There
right.
you have it.
All right, guys. Well, stay safe out there. Be mindful of this weather. Even in Florida, it's cold. So just be careful and be safe, and we'll see you down the road.
Party on, Greg.
No way. Way.
You gotta be paying attention, Doc.
Thanks for
So Ernie can use this in the blooper reel.
That's right. We love you, Ernie. Yes, we do.
Don't put that in, Ernie.
Quit taking yourself so damn seriously.
some extraordinary data things that are being done around the world.
Thanks, Ernie. We didn't mention hockey either. Isn't that unbelievable? Put that in, Doc.
Yeah, now let us see it in a blooper. This is good. We're going to be here in a second, Wayner.
Don't lose it, Doc. Hot.
Use that one, Doc.
Don't use that one.